A00-451 Administering SAS Viya exam guides are here for you to study. There are 60 to 65 multiple-choice questions in real A00-451 exam, and you have 110 minutes to complete the exam. The passing score is 65%. The certification expires after 5 years. This A00-451 exam is based on 2024.03 LTS. Administering SAS Viya A00-451 exam topics cover the following details: managing a SAS Viya environment, monitoring, logging and troubleshooting in a SAS Viya environment, identity and user management, content and functionality management. Below are the A00-451 exam preparation tips. Understand A00-451 exam overview. Master A00-451 exam topics. Join SAS-related forum. Practice A00-451 exam questions. Share some A00-451 exam questions below. Which is one of the programming runtime servers in a full deployment of SAS Viya? A. SAS Cloud Analytic Services. B. SAS Message Broker. C. SAS Compute Server. D. SAS Cache Server. The correct answer is C. Explanation. The SAS Compute Server is one of the programming runtime servers in a full deployment of SAS Viya. It provides support for SAS programming by executing SAS code for users and applications. Option A. SAS Cloud Analytic Services. Manages in-memory data and supports analytics but is not specifically a programming runtime server. Option B. SAS Message Broker. Handles communication between services but is not a programming runtime server. Option D. SAS Cache Server. Stores cache data for better performance but is not involved in running programming code. Which option is not a sample job provided in SAS Environment Manager to manage CAS tables for the public CAS lib? A. Import. B. Load. C. Unload. D. Export. The correct answer is A. Explanation. In SAS Environment Manager, the sample jobs provided to manage CAS tables for the public CAS lib typically include: Load. Loads data into a CAS table. Unload. Unloads a CAS table from memory. Export. Exports a CAS table to an external format. Import is not a sample job provided for managing CAS tables. Instead, importing data into CAS is typically handled by other processes or tools outside the context of these sample jobs. Which is not included in the SAS Compute Server compute context? A. User identity to be used when starting a compute server. B. SAS options to be set when starting a compute server. C. Auto-exec file parameters to be executed when starting a compute server. D. Environment variables to be set when starting a compute server. The correct answer is C. Explanation. The SAS Compute Server compute context defines the settings and resources for running SAS programs. It includes: A. User identity. Specifies the identity under which the compute server is started. B. SAS options. Configuration options that are applied when the compute server is initialized. D. Environment variables. Key environment settings that are set when the server starts. Auto-exec file parameters are not explicitly included as part of the compute context settings. While an auto-exec file may be used, its parameters are typically configured separately and not directly part of the compute context definition. Which statement is true about a SAS programming-only deployment? A. All code must be submitted in batch. B. All code must be submitted in batch or via enterprise guide. C. It includes SAS Studio, which connects to the SAS Workspace server. D. It includes SAS Studio, which connects with the SAS Compute Service. The correct answer is C. Explanation. In a SAS programming-only deployment, the focus is on traditional SAS programming without the full suite of SAS Viya services. Key points about this deployment. It includes SAS Studio, a web-based interface for SAS programming. SAS Studio connects to the SAS Workspace server, which executes SAS programs and manages the sessions. Option A and Option B are incorrect because SAS programming in this deployment does not have to be limited to batch submission. Option D is incorrect because the SAS Compute Service is part of a full Viya deployment, not a programming-only deployment. Which statement is true about modifying SAS server logging in SAS Environment Manager as it compares to using the SAS server's logging configuration file? A. It is possible for a single machine SAS server architecture only. B. It requires a restart of the SAS server. C. It only applies to SAS sessions for the user who makes the logging changes. D. It is temporary and will only remain in effect until you restart the SAS server. The correct answer is D. Explanation. When modifying SAS server logging through SAS Environment Manager, the changes made are temporary and only persist for the current session of the SAS server. These changes are overridden when the SAS server is restarted, as the server reverts to the settings defined in its logging configuration file. Option A. Incorrect, as this applies to all SAS architectures, not just single machine setups. Option B. Incorrect, as modifying the logging settings through SAS Environment Manager does not require a server restart. Option C. Incorrect, because the changes apply to the entire SAS server, not just specific user sessions. In a default deployment, how often is the update checker run? A. Daily. B. Weekly. C. Monthly. D. Quarterly. The correct answer is B. Explanation. In a default SAS Viya deployment, the update checker is configured to run weekly. This tool checks for updates to SAS software and components, helping administrators stay informed about available patches or new releases. Other intervals like daily, monthly, or quarterly are not the default configuration but could be adjusted if necessary. The producer services in the operations infrastructure place their results in a location managed by which server? A. Message broker. B. Configuration server. C. Secrets manager. D. Infrastructure data server. The correct answer is D. Explanation. The infrastructure data server manages the storage of results produced by various producer services in the operations infrastructure. It serves as a central repository for operational data and supports services like logging, monitoring, and auditing. Option A. Message broker. Handles communication and message routing between services but does not manage the storage of results. Option B. Configuration server. Manages configuration data for services but not the operational results. Option C. Secrets manager. Stores sensitive data like passwords or keys, not operational results. In a distributed, MPP, CAS server, what happens when a CAS worker node becomes unreachable or goes down? A. The CAS server is paused until the node is available again. B. The CAS server continues processing jobs on redundant blocks of data on remaining nodes. C. The CAS server automatically recovers and all programs are restarted from the beginning. D. The CAS worker node unregisters itself with the configuration server and processing continues. The correct answer is B. Explanation. In a distributed, MPP, CAS server, the CAS server uses redundancy and data distribution strategies like data block replication to ensure fault tolerance. If a CAS worker node becomes unreachable or fails, the server can continue processing using redundant blocks of data stored on the remaining worker nodes. This minimizes disruption and avoids restarting jobs. Option A. Incorrect, as the server does not pause waiting for the failed node. Option C. Incorrect, because the CAS server does not restart all programs. It continues with the remaining nodes. Option D. Incorrect, as the worker node does not unregister itself. It's simply considered unavailable, and processing proceeds without it. For a SAS administrator to terminate a user's CAS session in SAS Environment Manager, which actions must an administrator take? Choose to. A. The SAS administrator has to opt in to their assumable groups upon log on. B. The SAS administrator must have CASLib management privileges. C. The SAS administrator has to assume the superuser role. D. The SAS administrator has to stop the CAS server in the operating system. The correct answer is AC. Explanation. To terminate a user's CAS session in SAS Environment Manager. A. The SAS administrator has to opt in to their assumable groups upon log on. Administrators must explicitly opt into the groups that grant them elevated privileges, like the superuser role, after logging in to ensure they have the necessary permissions. C. The SAS administrator has to assume the superuser role. The superuser role grants the administrator the ability to manage all aspects of the CAS environment, including terminating user sessions. Which component is responsible for initializing the workspace server? A. Object spawner. B. Launcher service. C. Connect spawner. D. Compute service. The correct answer is A. Explanation. The object spawner is responsible for initializing the SAS workspace server. It manages client requests for workspace server sessions and ensures the proper server instances are started and connected to clients. Option B, Launcher Service. This is used for launching compute server sessions in SAS Viya, not the workspace server. Option C, Connect Spawner. Manages connections for SAS Connect sessions, not the workspace server. Option D, Compute Service. Supports the compute server in SAS Viya, which is different from the workspace server in traditional SAS environments.